What's up, EKN Nation? Welcome to a new edition of Face2Face here on the EKN YouTube channel and, of course, on Facebook as well. Back in for another show. It's been a while since we've done a Face2Face. I've been on the road for, 3 weeks. Just got back in the office for a week. And then we head to the CKNA Grand National 6 in Newcastle next week. But we've had a lot of opportunity really over the last bunch of shows to talk about different races that were coming up. We're going to dive more into the industry right now with this one here and a really cool kind of story to kind of educate everybody in the North American karting community. My name is Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. David, this should be a good one. You're coming out of the USPKS event at Newcastle. You go back with me next week for back-to-back weekends at Newcastle for CKNA and the Rotax US Trophy Final. This should be a good interview, though.
Yeah, excited to talk about the TB Kart brand, talk about Racelab and everything that's going on with that side of the industry, and also learn a little bit more about the KARTPLEX. It's an amazing facility in British Columbia. Again, all these racetracks, a lot of these amazing racetracks that some people in the industry just don't even know about. So hoping to provide a little bit more information on all of that with our interview here with Craig Feiner.
Yeah, a lot of insight in this particular one. As David said, we're going to be talking to Craig Feiner from Racelab out at KARTPLEX at Area 27 Motorsports out in Oliver, British Columbia. You know, obviously the West Coast, Pacific Northwest has been really a hotbed for a lot of racing for the last, couple decades, however many decades you want to say. It's been around forever, Region 6 and IKF back in the day. And of course, even just on the Canadian West Coast, not even lower, across the border into the U.S., but there's been some tremendous racing coming out of the West Coast. A lot of drivers have been part of Team Canada at the Rotax Grand Finals. Of course, that's where Italian Motors started back in the day with the Valientes, Michael and his sister Claudia, and a number of great drivers coming out like Jordi Vorath coming out of that program, David Yurka. So the Pacific Northwest has always had a really strong position within the sport, although almost to a certain extent, David, on some ways, on an island of its own, right? It's a long way to get there if you're trying to drive there. It's not a central place like Newcastle or Charlotte or Florida in terms of winter racing. So it kind of races by itself to a certain extent. And then those drivers come and attack everywhere else over North America.
That's certainly a good point. Philip Arscott's another one from the Pacific Northwest, and Stepanova Nikhil, Joey Wimsett, some guy by the name of Mike Rollison in the Pacific Northwest, Nick Tucker. No idea who those guys are.
Right.
So there's been a lot of talent that has been groomed in the Northwest. And as you said, they've hit all these national, regional events throughout the last, 3 decades, if not longer. And so now we're starting to get a new crop of younger drivers. There's a Jackson Gibson and some others from the Pacific Northwest that are trying to make their mark on the national level as well too. But there's also on the Canadian side, there's still that core group of racers that are diehard karters that are in the western part of Canada, and certainly they're racing all different programs and all different clubs, and even the new British Columbia Summer Series that they had this year.
Yeah, and the big thing here about the interview we're going to have here with Craig Feiner, we'll bring him on here momentarily. He's waiting on the sidelines for us. Is not only is this a British Columbia-based program where they do a lot of West Coast racing, they'll be doing the East Coast Rotax program as well. They're big in terms of the West Coast competition. But this is a North American program because they are the importer and distributor of the TB kart. They have the Villeneuve chassis as well that they use kind of for their primary drivers and their high elite drivers. But the TB kart program's been around a long time. It's having a lot of success in Europe these days. We've seen it here in the U.S. over the last decade and a half. So, David, not only are they working on their own team and their own program at the KARTPLEX at Area 27, but they're also, again, extending through the dealership network with TB Kart. We're going to see them quite a bit in the U.S. next year.
Yeah, it'll be great to hear some kind of insight because, again, this really only began earlier in the year. So, you think a distribution program is a lot of work. And so we're going to kind of get into the fine details of that and growing a dealer network as well, too. Obviously, there was somewhat of established network, but obviously when you're trying to bring in a new brand, you want to expose it to even more areas of the country. And if not, because you're in the United States and North America, Canada, United States, Mexico, all over the place. Yeah. So that's some of the things we'll hit on.
All right, well, get ready for this one here because our new guest is mobile. It is Craig Feiner from Racelab, the importers we said of TB Kart, and of course Villeneuve. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. Look at that beautiful background at KARTPLEX, dude. What a great place to come in here for this interview.
Thanks for having me, Rob. And I have to confess that I'm hijacking nature to try and make our place look attractive. But it's one of the things out here that it's British Columbia, and I don't think very many people automatically attach it to go karting, but they do automatically attach it to natural beauty, and we got bag loads of it. So there you go.
So let's tell this story. Let's go chapter by chapter. First and foremost, let's talk about the venue itself, where you are, where Racelab bases out of. Then we'll kind of roll into how that all came about, how you got it in together with TB Kart. But where is KARTPLEX? Give me an overview of the facility itself.
Well, so KARTPLEX specifically is on the Area 27 Motorsports Complex in Oliver, British Columbia, which is the South Okanagan. Okay, this is Canada's playground, more or less. We actually just became the world's most dense vineyard region. So this is exceeded France now in terms of wine tourism in our region. Just to put it in context, where we are, it's gorgeous. It's lakes, it's mountains. It's semi-arid desert up here, so we have a really nice long dry season. We have a very warm season. So the racetrack itself honestly was a whim on the part of a local racer here 7 years ago. A guy by the name of Bill Drossis that had raced in the IROC series a long time ago, and just happened to go to the Spinard School with Villeneuve in the 80s, literally. Sorry, 80s, 80s.
Yeah.
And they formed a lifelong friendship. Bill, is an Okanagan boy for a long, long time, and sort of had this inspiration driving through one of the Osoyoos Indian Band areas, which is just all this incredibly gorgeous area up here, and had the audacity to go to the chief and say, you know what do you think about race cars? And just so happens that Chief Louis is a big motorsports enthusiast and very progressive, and really, he just won the Order of Canada, the most progressive business person in of all of our Indigenous leaders here in Canada.
Wow.
So he was very positive about it. Jacques agreed to get involved, and the next thing you know, we had a little project. Well, I should say they had a little project, and one of them showed up at my little rental center in Penticton. Rob, you and I know each other from a long time ago.
Yeah,
I grew up also racing in the Pacific Northwest and running a team, and for a brief little bit of time worked for Jim Early at SCUSA.
Yeah.
You forgot some names: Jason Lapointe, Dominic Cicero, Seth Ingham.
Keep going.
Sorry, I don't. It's not a proud region around here.
Yeah.
Carl Skurlong.
Great. Yeah.
So anyway, they came out to my little round track. Bill came out to my round track and said, hey, man, how would you like to build a state-of-the-art go-karting center with me and Jacques Villeneuve right here in the sunny South Okanagan? I was like, sure, Bill. Sounded like somebody woke me up in the middle of a dream and forgot to spill the water on me or something. And then that process sort of was a long process. We had to gain approval from the band to use the land, and there was approval from the Crown, and it was 3 more years later before the actual Area 27 complex got built. That was ground broke 5 years ago, and opened 3.5. And so we have a 4.9 kilometer, literally FIA level 2 certified road course right over there. You can probably hear some of the radicals and road cars circulating right now. I can turn the camera later on. You can see we have a parking lot full of Exotica over there, which for us it's motorsports mecca. Yeah. Anyway, sure enough, 3 years later they invited me down to an interview here, and I figured it was all probably pie in the sky, and there was the 1997 Formula One world champion sitting across the table from me saying, let's do go-karting. I never did it before, and we've struck up a great friendship and started a project. And 3 years later, again, we have what's on the ground here behind us. And actually this fall, in about 60 days time, our big building will be constructed. So we'll have a nice permanent facility with lounge areas and showers and bathrooms. And
wow.
It's, the whole idea of Area 27 is that this is a golf course where the balls have 4 wheels and weigh 2,000 pounds. And it's really becoming prevalent, and you guys have seen it across North America. The next generation of sort of upwardly mobile culture is kids like us, and we're now old, and we don't want to hit golf balls. We want to drive race cars. And stuff like that. So this has been a tremendous success. They sold out their private membership very quickly. And then we started this project, opened it up 3 years ago. Fundamentally, with the rental center being the number one thing, we have a nice arrive and drive program because of the fact that we're here protected by the band's rules. we have a very serious racing program. You can come out and rent 75-kilometer-an-hour go-karts from us. Everybody that works here has got racing credentials. So just the main business here is still definitely the open to the public. Come on in and try go-karting. But our goal was always to really grow the sport in the region and to use that pool of motorsports enthusiasm that comes from across the road and from our region. And, you guys know how it is. A guy gets out of a McLaren 720 and sits in a rental cart and says, what? Huh? That's the slow ones? It's like, yeah, that's the slow ones. So creating enthusiasm in our audience was relatively easy. And now we have, 140 go-karts privately owned, stored on site. A fleet of arrive and drive carts at 60 strong, and an inventory of 100 some plus go-karts available for distribution and sales. So it really took off quickly. The region really bit into it, and we have been blessed. We had a couple of issues with forest fires for a couple of years that impacted our seasonality and stuff, but generally it's just been a fantastic experience. And our goal has been to grow the pie and not so much to go and take customers from other competitors. Like you say, we have a whole bunch of legendary competitors, go-kart teams from our region that, again, people don't hear about the Northwest, but they've heard about BBR and the Chokers. They've heard about Valianti and Italian Motors. They've heard about Genesis Racing, Vemicart. There's a lot of energy here in the Pacific Northwest and even the Canadian Pacific Northwest. Of course, when you drop across the border, I'm still a member of the Track Magic Owners Group, and
yeah, baby,
I host those guys here one of these days. And that's as you guys know, a member of our family. TB Kart builds the Track Magic, so yeah, the program kind of exploded to the point where it became a serious racing program more quickly than we anticipated. And then we had the demand to start training drivers and guys that were serious about it. As you know, that's very close to my heart. My day job at the time was I was doing mental skills training primarily for business people and hockey players and stuff. But I've always been into this whole mental aspect of human performance, and it applies to racing better than anything.
Indeed, 100%.
That's how I got into it. And we use race carts and rental carts to train firefighters, police officers, real estate salesmen, professionals of many, many sorts, to control their focus of attention, to recover from stress, to generate useful information from failures and frustrations, and to communicate and share information efficiently and smoothly. So, there's nothing better. There's no better training ground than the kart track, and they're the funnest toys in the whole entire universe. And it's just an easy sell, man. I mean, you guys know that. It's just an easy sell, and we're just passionate about it, and we want to. We're trying to create a place where it's obvious that if you love this, people know where to go if you want to be a hockey player, a soccer player in our region, a lacrosse player. There are large professional organizations. We are trying to develop a place that becomes the obvious place if you want to learn motorsports and make your way up through the ranks. It doesn't really matter if you just want to try it one afternoon and you only have $100 in your pocket, or if you think you're the next champion. And we're again all about community. We don't tell anybody you're going to Formula One. We say this is a great sport. You can learn tremendous things that are applicable across your life, and if you have those rare talents and the level of commitment required, then there's opportunities and greater opportunities in motorsports, which we've already been successful in harvesting for some of our drivers. So
let's go from the track that you've built, the whole culture you've built at KARTPLEX as part of Area 27. This comes about what were the steps that when you said, hey, listen, we're going to find a brand. We want a brand that we're going to attach to what we're doing. How did it become TB Kart? Obviously things sped up pretty quickly. You're now the importer distributor for the brand. We'll go to the Villeneuve chassis after that, but let's jump first and what was the decision to pick to work with TB? Where was the relationship there and how'd that develop? We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network.
Well, I have to tell you that started 100% in our rental and arrive and drive programs.
Yeah.
So I was obviously searching for a fleet to begin with, and I'd done a lot of homework. And the prevalent products, everybody knows what they are. Sody Kart sells more rental carts than anyone in the universe. CRG has a tremendous program. Tony's getting into it. TB is a little bit of an outside brand, but to be perfectly honest with you, their go-karts caught my eye. I was surfing around, and there was another OEM product that they built that I just thought, it looked like a race cart. It was a little tidier. It was a little smaller. It was a little lighter. And they had some features on it that I really, really liked. And I literally backdoored it. I figured out who built these go-karts, and I found that it was TB Kart in Italy. And I got a hold of the guy there. And, there's a great story that goes the whole way along. But the beginning of the end of the story, from my point of view, is that I met Enea Brenna, who's the current president and CEO of TB Kart, and we're brothers now. He's just one of the best guys I've ever met, and I've had many good and sort of insecure partnerships in business in my life, and I prize human relationships over everything else. And when Enea and I started talking, we were so much on the same page, and their product wasn't really quite there at that time, 100%. The rental product was very well evolved, and we were ready for it. We were looking for a race product. I had already made a deal with a different brand. Enea kind of said, "Hey man, we build race carts. I know you don't know about them. It's a good product. We'll make it advantageous for you." And I could tell by the relationship at the beginning that they'd be curious, responsive, active, like they're young guys. There's so much, gravity in the business now. The big companies are giant. They're very hard to move and influence. And we just like the idea of having a mobile, youthful partner, even if the product was not necessarily had the legend wrapped around it that the big brands did. And I'll tell you, that's kind of how it started. We got our first batch of racing carts from them, like 8 months after we got our rental fleet. And we started playing with them and trying them. And, frankly, my kids are hockey players. We raced go-karts in the Northwest when they were babies. And I was working for SCUSA and Carillion Corporation and all that other kind of stuff. But it kind of, racing life went on pause for my family and my kids till we started our own thing up here. We started getting back into it. We didn't really know. And then we started thinking, you know what, this is good stuff. The second generation of the chassis came out with some feedback from us and from Gary. And we thought we can do something. And we made a move and hired a team and a manager and a driver, and started getting a little more serious. I've always been serious about coaching and driver development. And so I had my own little angle on this stuff. And we just, we had great success right out of the hop. We started racing in our region last year, and kind of won the first significant race we entered. And that was a little bit of an eye opener. And then we kept on working, and we were very successful. And we had young kids that had never driven before that were winning known drivers. And the good thing was a bunch of people are pointing their fingers at us going, well, you're either cheating or that's a pretty good go-kart. Like I never heard of that before, but it's all right. And then the third generation has just arrived. And it's, I'm pompous, obviously. And at this point, I am the national distributor and I have an axe to grind, but the best go-kart we've ever touched. It's easy to set up. It's easy to free up. And we have done we've had a great time getting to know it and learn it. And we're very strongly partnered with our friends in Italy now. And, we get the updates before the world gets the updates, and we get to play with the cool stuff. And we've didn't successfully sort of keep our original plan together with the drivers and team manager. Like there was just some sort of partnership factors where Craig's just a weirdo and I have this thing about how our culture works, and the technology was there and the performance was there, but I had my own little old man, frankly anal retentive cultural ideas I wanted to maintain. So we wanted to start with a group of young kids that we were really developing, and we've gone out and we've pretty much grown a team from the grass here in British Columbia. One of our drivers from Alberta, but all Canadian pretty much, and we won the Western Canadians and had 3 drivers in the top 5, 2 in the top 3. In our region and at our track, we had great success. So, again, we've got very strong competition in our region. It's never going to be a cakewalk around here. There's national level guys, there's national level teams, and there's great equipment. And we're still learning. We're not where we need to be just yet. But, so that was the genesis. It started with the rental carts. We loved the relationship with the company and the people. We started with the generation of products, which was their kind of return to the race market. TB is Tibby, and Tibby's been around forever. It is one of the legendary brands of go-karting. That family has owned that company since the early 1900s. And in terms of a contiguously operating incorporated business, I think it is the oldest go-kart company in the world. They've been producing go-karts since 1974 with a little bit of a pause back again in the 90s and now in the 2000s. And we're doing well in the world right now. The volume of sales for TB has really ramped in the last little while, and especially with their success internationally. And we're going to start to spread our wings a little bit, and part of it involves partnerships with other teams that know what they're doing and are successful and keen to explore the product. And part of it is our own racing program, which will be traveling around and doing a higher level of stuff. Including, we have got a little junket planned for several of our drivers up to Italy to train with the factory and the tuners and run in a international Italian race, and then come back for Rock and Supernats, and hopefully end the season with some good experiences and some insights and learning gained, and head into 2023 as someone that people are starting to recognize and think of as an alternative. If you love racing and you're interested in sort of learning the game, we're very, very serious about it. We've got a great crew now. We've got a total of 25 employees here, and about 11 of them serve on the racing team intermittently. And that's expanding all the time. I just met yesterday with another Canadian who's got a pretty high level resume in karting, and I'm hopeful that we can have a partnership. So it's like David said, it's a never ending job, and I'm dropping balls left and right. There's no doubt about it. We've not done a great job everywhere we've gone, but I think we've taken an earnest approach to learning from our mistakes, and I think we're in a pretty strong position. I'm really proud. Villeneuve was here hanging out and driving karts and shaking hands with all of our drivers, and then we had this little shootout, and Kev went and
let's not jump into that. Let's hold on to that one. If you're just tuning in here, folks, this edition,
just slow down a bit here.
You've had a couple monsters already. That's good. Craig Feiner from Racelab joining us right now, the importer and distributor of the TV kart, located at KARTPLEX. They run KARTPLEX at Area 27 in Oliver, British Columbia. The racing team, obviously, I think, Craig, that's probably a smart idea, right? You go to your base, you build out from your base, you're racing that region that runs around your race, you have your club races, your series races, you get a chance to expand from there. We will see you guys expand. I know that you guys were down in a small effort at the Challenge of the Americas, Andy Saisman's program last year. And talking before the show, you're saying that's something you're going to do as well, of course. Western Canadian and all the stuff there. You're going to go to the East Coast a bit to run the Rotex Nationals there as well, the Canadian Nationals. But you are going to go south of the border as well this year with the Challenge of the Americas. Talk to us a little bit about the effort you're going to plan for COTA this year.
Well, so we've got about 8 committed drivers right now, including our 4 what we call our factory drivers, and we've kind of been up in our rolling game this year. We put together a nice little cab over van with 24-foot with a lift gate on it and stuff like that. So we're a little bit more mobile. We've got a little bit more hauling capacity, and most importantly, we've added techs. Some of our techs are coming with us to train in Italy as well. So we've got on staff, enough qualified tuners now to support 8 drivers, and then we have available contractors in our marketplace here. Again, there's a bunch of guys around here that have supported many of the teams that are available. Really, really good guys. So we can handle up to 12. Our mobile pits operation supports up to 12. We're fully self-contained. We roll everywhere we go with a pretty good inventory of everything. I've got between the home track here and the trailer, and then also I have a warehouse in Florida, a warehouse in Burnaby. So we've got a nice distribution of parts around North America. So, we're going to do that full Challenge of the Americas deal. We'll catch a couple of other sort of high-level races. I'd like to go down to Cal Speed. I'd like to go to Thermal if they start having events this year, which is a rumor. So we're interested in doing a couple of one-offs, like just having fun and going and seeing some new places, and then competing in the Challenge of the Americas as a full series. We'll again do the Super Nats at minimum. You'll see Racelab drivers at USPKS. You'll see Racelab drivers at the Pro Tour. At Newcastle, throwback from the old days. I'd like to take a van down there and do the Rock Island GP again. We got to find some equipment that's suitable for that stuff. But we're going to do a smattering of SCUSA USPKS. We're a little more committed on the West Coast where it's a little more accessible to us. Of course. But we'll also be equipping distributors and dealers so that we hope to see our brands out under other tents, and we have support available in Indianapolis and in Florida, and so with other partnering teams, we hope to be able to at least support some other drivers, racers that want to be at events that we're not going to be at.
Are you in a place right now to talk about some of the? I know that the dealer network was something you and I talked about a month ago. Really, kind of that's one of your focus things was now you've set the base, you've got your roots, you've got the KARTPLEX, you're winning races in Western Canada. Where are you guys now in terms of TB kart dealers? Is there anything you can talk about right now?
Yeah, we're getting there. We've got a lot of conversations going on is the right way to talk about it. I've secured 3 new dealerships in Canada, Brecken Motorsports Park just outside of Toronto, which is a facility as well. We kind of emphasize facilities. I like the idea of shops at tracks because it gives people the opportunity to actually play with these things. And I'm more concerned when there has to be a story around how do we play this sport. So I've got one in Halifax, Lucas Stragican in Halifax got his own track. He's been a TB kart supporter in the past. Lou Pasubio at Bretchen is just coming on board right now and is going to be running some arrive and drive programs and sort of limited regional program in his marketplace there. We've got we're putting together. We've got a support program in Calgary right now with Alloy Racing. So they're a dealer again that's not at a track, but we're trying to sort of set up a permanent facility there so that those guys are readily available to go to the track side and provide support. One of our drivers is a former member of their team, and he'll be there to support. So Kev is when he's not in France, he'll be in Calgary helping those guys out. And then I'm without getting too much into the details of we're moving forward with Dallas location, Arizona location, Indianapolis location. Farshad is in Florida, continues to be in Florida, continues to be supportive, has a whole bunch of buddies down there that are
Farshad Bagari,
TB kart fanatics, and Renee Martinelli's always the guy to beat in Masters in that part of the world, and Farshad's always right there with him. But we continue to want to support and help those guys grow that program and keep their footprint in that part of the marketplace. So we're definitely still expanding. We're definitely still looking for support in some parts of the world, but we're going slow. And just like it was with our original partnership with the brand, to us, it's about culture. It's about finding the right people. It's about long-term friendships and not putting a squeeze on someone to produce magic in a marketplace that's maybe not quite there yet. But more about showing that we have resources. And you know what? We're trying to make a mini Italy here. We are vacation land, so we're going to create a situation where we're going to do 2-week camps here. So even our drivers, maybe from Arizona and Florida and further away than that, we're going to be doing it kind of a little bit patterned up after the hockey schools that I've worked at in the past. Where it's come in and camp. Mom and dad can do the wine tours. Hey, if dad wants to join the school as well, we have academy programs for grown-ups as well. But our kids leagues and kids camps and kids academy is becoming quite popular, and some of the kids that have graduated from it have had conspicuous success. So we're looking to develop that, and part of our ways to develop that is, instead of going out in the marketplace necessarily putting down footprint, we're going to go out in the marketplace and say, look, we want to create support, and then also show you guys that if you're a member of this family, you've got access to Italy, you've got access to Oliver, you've got access to mental skills and sports psychology, you've got access to technology, motor tuning, motor building. I think I skip all around. We're partnered with Chris Black now, and Chris is sort of stepping off the road tax program a little bit, or we'll start looking at it. Right now, road tax, we're definitely strong with Chris, and that's a partnership we'll keep. But we're looking to develop our other motor programs as well, and be a soup to nuts offering.
We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network.
Are you ready to go from karts to cars? Since 1975, the Skip Barber Racing School has taken great drivers and made them champions. Today, we're proud to welcome the next generation of winners. Make the transition from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Formula Race Series. You'll compete at the most iconic tracks in America. Race weekends include your very own equalized Formula 4 race car, a professional crew, expert instruction, video and data analysis, hospitality, and more. This is the place to fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. Sign up today by calling 866-932-1949 or visit us at skipbarber.com.
History, success, family. Those are the three words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation, located just outside of Indianapolis, has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. Let's talk about the success of a couple of your drivers. Obviously, we had a chance to watch Ty Fisher throughout the year. He's kind of been a Racelab guy running throughout the national level. But let's talk about the success most recently for Kevin Foster, your driver, who not only has found success karting in Western Canada, but also just notched something pretty big over in France.
It's amazing. I mean, so Jacques and Patrick Lemeray have run this feed racing program in France for several seasons now. They have 16 F4 cars there. And what they basically do is it's a paid program. You pay to enter the school, and then, the best drivers at the end of the year come back for a shootout, and the best drivers in the round of 16 go to the round of 8, and the round of 4, and then the finals. And it's a bit of a tournament round robin style thing that they do. And so what had happened was Kevin had come out to race at one of our regional programs. He really had kind of, his his karting had wound down a little bit. It's expensive, and he's kind of a young man on his own. So he came out and raced with us and did conspicuously well, and on a track he'd never been on. And our racing events out here are not super competitive just yet because we're a new region, but he still did well enough against kids that I can metric against other national competitors to say, hey man, would you like to come and drive with us? So we signed him up on a limited basis and kind of partnered with his existing team, the Alloy in Calgary, to support him. And one of the things is that we Area 27 had organized a scholarship to purchase one of these entries into this Feed F4 program for a budding young Canadian from our region. And we actually did open it up to drivers that were not from our program. So Jesse Webb entered the program. My son Josh, who I think earned his rights on merit. He'd been kind of one of the dominant drivers before Kevin showed up here at Chilliwack this year. So Josh got a chance, and Kevin, and we went through a little bit of a ladder program here. And in the end of the day, Kevin was consistently the quick kid, so he got that scholarship program to go and just enter the program in France. That's really what we supported him in gaining, and Neil and Bill and the guys over at Area 27 sort of pulled together to finance this entry in this F4 Feed program. And he was just unreal. He was just absolutely unreal. So we've been Kevin and I have been working together a little bit. He was strong mentally when I met him. He's stronger mentally now, and he's as an individual 17, 18-year-old kid. He's a mature, committed, intelligent, and process-oriented young man, and he really, really took to heart all the stuff that we talked about and trained on. He went off to France without the support of his dad or me or anybody there, but on his own, just conferred by phone and stuff time to time, and more than kept his stuff together. Was the dominant participant by all accounts, and to the point where I'm getting phone calls saying, you know what, this is amazing. Like, this kid doesn't really have the background even in karts that the rest of these guys had. So the two things were kind of weaved together. While he was doing the scholarship to earn that right, we went off and protracted the Western Canadians at Saskatoon and then Warburg, and he won Saskatoon driving away. He was the fastest driver all weekend by 4/10. Josh was the second fastest driver all weekend. So we kind of showed up with Villeneuve karts that no one had even seen before, and people were like, what is that stuff? And conspicuously parked them on the top step, and in Kevin's case, in a dominant fashion. So at Saskatoon, he won in a dominant fashion, and it was amazing. Even Kevin was like, I've never been the guy to beat before. I don't know what's going on, but we just had a harmony. The equipment, Kevin matched the go-kart perfectly. He and I, as sort of coach and driver, have a great relationship in a very short period of time, and he just did fantastically well. All of our team did fantastically well. Gabriel did well. James did well. Josh did well. And Marco did well. But Kevin conspicuously did well. Won Saskatoon. Edmonton was a fist fight, and it was not easy. And we went through some real trials and tribulations, and it was a challenge on me, who's like an old school kind of sportsman / whatever. I'm not from World War II, but I have World War II mentality. It was a tough fight, and we tried to do our best to stay gentlemen and do it right. But in the end of the day, he got that one and got the gold. Joshua got the bronze, and Kevin went home with that. So he earned a ticket to the Worlds, and then literally got in an airplane, flew to France, won the round of 8, got invited back to the round of 4, won the round of 4, did the final 2 one-on-one shootout, and he was the fastest kid. He had one session in this whole speed program in France where he was not the fastest kid on track. And, just typical Kevin. He's like, yeah, no, I made a mistake right here. I could see this. We're like, okay, I'm not worried about it then. You seem to know exactly what's going on. And then won the finals again in fairly dominant fashion. And the feedback has just been incredible. He and Jacques were hanging out a little bit. Patrick basically told us he's probably one of the most talented kids that's been through the program in 10 years. Man. And so he'll be racing in France. He is going to the Rotax Worlds in Portimao. We have a scheduling issue to sort out because He is also, via our support friends here at Area 27, we're giving him an entry in the Formula Ford Festival in England.
Okay.
So that's kind of a bonus for him. Is he's going to go race the biggest Formula Ford race in the universe.
Indeed.
So we've got so many great things going on for Kevin that we're having a tough time getting his flights booked. It's just been. And also because he fits the mold of a Racelab driver so perfectly that it's a blessing for all of us. You know, he's a keeper, and on the one hand, we're happy to see him go. I can't wait to see him tell me to get lost. I'm too busy racing in Europe. Kevin's long-term goal really is to do Super Formula in Japan, and I think that's a really realistic and practical goal. And I think he's got the talent and the commitment to do it. Whenever Kevin races a go-kart, he will be in a Racelab build-up go-kart or a TB kart if we go to Europe. That's our sort of mutual agreement and partnership that we have, and I'll continue to support him and coach him and do what I can do to create the resources that he needs. And also he's paved the path for a bunch of kids that are on our team that are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. That see this as a thing that they can now do. You know, it's
exactly. The mentor.
Not a rich kid's thing.
That's where I was going to go, because you said from the beginning you're talking about building a culture, and when you have it kind of helps to have a driver that has a little bit of success to begin with to kind of help form that path. Because as you said, there's these 9, 10, and 12, 11, 12-year-olds that are like, hey, in 4 years I could be doing that.
Totally.
All right, so we're trackside here at KARTPLEX Area 27. We can hear the cars in the background. That's solid. But you told us you're a mobile. What's this mobile thing all about?
Well, I told you beforehand I'm the slightest bit of a promotional nerd.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be cool if I had a magic carpet and I could show you guys around this place a little bit. Hey, is anybody on this radio? I need a driver. There's Robbie.
That's a large antenna.
Yeah, look at that antenna. That's massive.
Speaking of World War II, that looks like an antenna from World War II.
Okay, we're on ECAN doing a video show. I just like to sweep through the pits. If you can drive me backwards so we can see the workshop, the space and stuff like that, and then we'll go around the back. I'll show them the track. I'll show them the tower.
This is a first on Facebook.
We have not done this before.
No.
Okay, neither have I.
All right.
If you see something that looks like this, and I suddenly am out of the frame,
all right.
Stop the recording. Okay, this is an experiment.
We'll call Josh and tell him to call the ambulance.
You're gonna have to drive backwards, so you're gonna come back here and you're gonna drive me like that through there. Okay, this is that's Robbie Horvath, Racetrack Robbie. First of all, you can come in here, Robbie. Say hi to the people.
Where's Racetrack Robbie?
This for the record is you killed me if it happens.
All right.
For the record. Okay, now be careful, Robbie. So we'll show you our facility a little bit here, guys. That was my idea. Is if you pull over there. To go that way. Your back goes that way. Yeah. We've got. We sit on about 22 acres.
Okay.
We've got right now. What you see behind me is my 5,000 square foot. So now, if you can back me right through the tent, as long as we can make it through the freaking. This is our temporary building. Our new building is going to go in right over here. There's our office structures and some of.
Are you on a forklift right now?
I'm on a forklift. It's a magic carpet,
Dude,
this is a magic carpet. Don't ruin it, Rob. Don't ruin it.
This is a dream right now. I'm loving
so
this.
Mundane,
I can show you the world.
You're riding along.
I love it.
I'm really scared right now. This is very wiggly. But so, as you can probably start to see, maybe I'll do it this way.
That's good. It's coming up.
You can probably start to see we're coming into our shop here. So. There are like a total of about 130 go-karts stored on site. This is in our racking system right over there. The forklift that I was driving me around right now is our picker. And basically we have a concierge service. So we have a bunch of motorsports enthusiasts from the other side of the track. And they don't like getting their fingers dirty. And they love the idea of go-karting and getting involved with the sport. But they don't want to prep it or wrench it or fix it when it's broke or any of that kind of stuff. So we have a full concierge service. It's automated. You go on our calendar. You say, I'm coming to drive my go-kart on Wednesday. You just click the calendar. And then we drop your go-kart, prep it, oil it, air it, get it ready for the racetrack. You come out and play. And we put it back in the rack and it's ready for you. So it's a completely hands-off sort of concierge gentlemen and gentle ladies service. Here's Josh prepping a new go kart, a new
Here we go.
go kart. Somewhere around here is Danny Kasich. There's Josh in our shop area.
So you said how many carts are stored there right now?
So in a total on the track, I guess there's probably 160. There's 130 in here, and there's 60 in 10 by 10 containers with little garage areas in the back of the cart. And then our fleet, like the rental carts. Oh, by the way, we didn't show you guys the Villeneuve rentals. I am the only guy in North America now that has 2-stroke rental carts. We have Rotax R-Max rental carts. That's why you have to come here, Rob and David. It's fun. We just play. We don't need to work all day, every day. But anyway, I have 100-kilometer-an-hour rental carts now, and we allow it as a step-up program. It's not really a rental program, right? But so many people come out here and they see those, and they go, "Oh man, I don't want to drive those." I want to say, "Yeah, really? Okay, get in the rental cart so I can show you that you really need a lesson." And then when you start getting certain lap times, the instructors certify you. You go out in the Villeneuve R-Max, and then the Villeneuve R-Max is just sort of it's that gateway drug.
Yeah.
You know, after you've tried an R-Max and you've seen that you can do go-karting without getting broke and without necessarily even getting your fingers dirty if you don't want, it's a giant glide path to getting people involved in the sport. And that's where all this has come from, you know. So I think, to be perfectly honest with you, in our pile of go-karts here, I think there's 7 or 8 that belong to people who traded in a different go-kart or had a go-kart before. The vast majority of our clients around here are new to go-karting, and they started in a rental cart. So, you know, they go from there,
beautiful.
They go up through the rental carts, and the next thing you know, we've got, you know, a pretty serious team of regional racers. Robbie here, who's he's our forklift driver at the very moment, almost won the regional 206 series, except he had a really tough time keeping sprockets on his go-kart because of curbing and gopher and low-flying birds. So
Low-flying birds.
So there's here we go. There's for anybody that cares to see it, that's the R-Max rental machine. It's a Villeneuve branded go-kart.
Nice.
And, you know, fully adjustable, fully protected. We do not have our fancy dancy automated safety systems on these. You're under the guise of an instructor if you're driving an R-Max at all times. The rest of the go-karts have a completely automated system. There you can see some of our rats. There's Danny working in our new van, our new Isuzu NPR. And yeah, the racetrack. There you can want to go out there more? Yeah, we could. We'll do our interview, and Rob would make your choice, drive wherever you want. Don't go so slow, I fall off. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I mean, as Rob, as you know, I'm a nerd. I really do think these are the funnest toys in the whole world, and I've just tried to find ways to make them accessible and get people who might not otherwise think it's something that they can do, whether it's because of technical requirements or expense or access. We're just trying to, you know, bring the bar down, and then the net effect is that we found those high-level guys. You know, that by bringing the bar down, we're finding those guys that want to travel the region and have the budget to spend, and more importantly, have the budget to contribute to supporting our program drivers. You know, the drivers that we're putting on the team on merit, because we hope that there's going to eventually be a full pathway, a full ladder system that says, look, we're giving away the $110 entry in our youth program in the summer. And from there, if you keep winning scholarships, you can do go-karting all the way up to the Supernats without coming out of pocket for other than hotels and stuff. That's not in place now, to be honest. Otherwise,
that's the dream, right?
Right off the hook. But that is our objective.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream. David, you got anything else? We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2023 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the brand new Tatis JR23. As a stepping stone onto the road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, Anderson Promotions debuted a new series in 2022 that provides the ultimate opportunity for driver development for karting's career-minded racers. In 2023, the USF Juniors Series will feature a 6-event, 18 race schedule to train racers for the move into the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $200,000, and the total prize fund will exceed $325K. The series will also debut the new Tatis JR23 race car, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters ready to move onto the car racing ladder. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media and Road to Indy TV. There is no other brand in karting more recognized across the globe than Rotax. Race Rotax is proud to provide the platform for Rotaxians to compete across the U.S., from the grassroots level all the way to the Rotax Grand Finals. The road to Portimao reaches its final stage on the October 7th to 9th weekend with the Rotax US Trophy Final event. Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana is the site of this inaugural event, bringing together competitors from the Trophy Series East and Trophy Series West, as well as Rotax racers from Canada, Mexico, and other countries from around the world, all to battle for 12 tickets to the Rotax Grand Finals. The 2022 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals will take place in Portimao, Portugal on November 19 to 26 for the 22nd edition of the Olympics of Karting. Visit racerotax.com to learn more about each Trophy Series program and the Trophy Final event. Race Rotax. Together, we ride. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network.
What? Yeah. Well, I know we've talked about this off air, but do you think because you're trying to get with facilities, do you think this is kind of like a branding opportunity for, again, in the future, where you can take the kind of culture and the business program that you have there at KARTPLEX and be able to take it to maybe a struggling facility somewhere else in North America and try and help and rebuild that facility to, well, as you said, 130 carts just sitting there waiting to be driven, ready to go?
Absolutely, and we are a franchise concept, and that's a different sort of chapter of our story. But David,
so. Yeah.
hit it on the head. We see KARTPLEXes in other marketplaces in the future. We have had conversations with existing businesses that we think might benefit from the structure and formatting and culture of KARTPLEX. Like it's, we're kind of turnkey now, from point of sale, from booking to point of sale to cart sales and service and all that kind of stuff. And we do have a powerful distribution offering, so if you're looking for a soup to nuts, you want access to retail carts, and you want people that know how to run a commercial center. We're 7 days a week. We're 10 hours a day. We're doing our best to extend our hours. And this is the thing. We're in the middle of nowhere, guys. Okay.
Right.
When I built this thing, I spoke to people who are in our industry, RJ Valentine at X1 Boston, and he said, there's no way, you do not have the demographic. I disagreed with that because I think this is such a powerful game that I think I had my attitude at that time was, if you build it, they will come. And this is a great test case. If you draw a 100-kilometer circle around my racetrack, you are encircling 35,000 citizens. We've spent a lot of money building this place. We churn through a lot of money maintaining and operating this place. You can have a successful karting center within 45 minutes of any reasonable sized population center. Many markets have it already. Unfortunately, most of the commercial operations right now are indoor exclusively, and they don't really have that stepping stone pathway.
Yeah.
But the answer is yes. This is a strong concept. We've proved that it's a strong concept in a light demographic market. Should say strong demographic, but poor population. And now I'm seeing that momentum gather speed with some other kart tracks. And, I've got friends in the States and in Canada who, I'd like to benefit them. I don't want to take anything from them, but I do think that there's, we've got something here. And also just due to the fact that I have a large inventory of carts, axles, parts, spindles, and other things too. We stock corollary equipment, rental cart tires, blah, blah, blah. We really want to become a full resource service provider for someone that's in the entertain with small racing vehicles business.
Yeah.
That's the way we look at it. It's sport. You start at the entertainment level and then you go to the competitor level. And if you can tie a bridge between entertainment level and competitor, and if your entertainment level is credible because the guy who straps your next rental car customer into the go-kart is a national champion and knows where the apex is and can help that person get passionate about the sport. So it's, in my opinion, of course, it's a great format. It's a strong story, and we are very fortunate. There is no doubt about it. This was a blessing and an accident that we got this location, and you can hear it. I mean, motorsports people drive through here every day, not a lot of them, but not many of them can drive past a shifter car without getting a little, trail of saliva. So that's a strong attractor. But I strongly believe that this is going to be like golf courses in 30 years. That's what I think. I think that every large marketplace in the U.S. is going to have a large, successful outdoor center. And we're trying to build a tie with an indoor center as well right now. I think that there's a story there that says, hey, don't just think of indoor centers as amusement. You can go race, you can go learn, there can be an instructor there, and there can be a ticket that gets you to the outdoor center, and from there a ticket that gets you from there to there. And again, that's the point, the end of the iceberg. The idea is that for most people, it's accessible, it's affordable. We're not giving away scholarships to, even 1 out of 100 or 1,000 people that come on the property, but the opportunity is there if you're committed and talented.
Well, there you go, folks. A really great insight into a fantastic program. KARTPLEX, Racelab, everything that Craig and the crew there is doing, the team they put together. It's just, there's so many prongs to this. Craig, number one, lowering and removing the barrier of entry. We've talked about that all the time about our sport, right? It's something that's slightly confusing to a lot of people when they first come into karting, but if they can get into a rental cart, they quickly easily get into an outdoor cart, and it's easy to do. And you guys are there with everything you have with your concierge service. That's just such a huge deal in allowing people to come in, but you're building the program as well. We actually have a comment here. We'll bring that comment up, Dave. Marin Bedard, Craig and KARTPLEX have helped James Bedard to become micro champion in Canada this year. In his first year, I believe, too, was the next comment. So speak to that a little bit. Obviously, you know what, Craig, I've known you for a couple of decades now. The passion is there for business, obviously, but I know you have the passion for the sport of karting. And to be able to work with young guys like this and to build this huge program, got to be a dream come true for you, I think, for sure.
It's a dream for me, Rob. I mean, that's always been my thing. I like people, I love racing drivers. It's a mentality I relate to. I never got a go-kart till I was 29 years old and badly out of shape. And, I did what I could do, and I went and raced up in the Northwest and tried to catch the hot shoes up there. But all I really gained was a passion for the sport. I'm extremely nerdy. I'm always overturning rocks and trying to find information. This kid, he came to me out of nowhere. My motor builder phoned me up and said, you know what, James has had a really tough time and he's been around and he's done some stuff. And I just think he's talented, and we watched him a couple of times, and he had a couple of sort of trying experiences where, maybe the other competition on the track wasn't given the space. It makes it tough for an 8 or 9 year old, but he really stuck with it. And I put him on one of our carts, 3 months ago. And, embedded him in our program, and kind of James and I started working together a little bit. James comes from a fantastic family. His dad's a retired military guy, sort of heart of gold, real work ethic. And James just put his nose to the grindstone and listened and learned. And he's one of those kids where you tell him something and then you see it out there on the racetrack. Him and Gabriel Balog, who was kind of James's mentor a little bit, who's also just a gem of a human, like just listens and it flatters the coaching, when the kid goes out there and he just does what's asked. And James just did it, and then honestly, I'll take 2 extra minutes and just tell you, at the Westerns, James put his heart out. I mean, he was the quickest kid all weekend. He worked and worked and worked. It wasn't easy. There was a bunch of quick kids there. And then he goes out for the final. He's on pole. Pre-final, he wins the pre-final, goes out for the final, and his go-kart starts shutting off as he's going around on his formation lap. I see him reaching for his starter, and then he's restarting it, it's shutting off. It's restarting, it's shutting off. The line of carts behind him is pushing him. Otherwise, he would not have made it back to the start-finish line. And then eventually, he's holding his finger on it. So the race starts, He manages to get down the front straight, and then the same thing starts happening, and on, off. James drives the first 2.5 laps with one hand holding the local karting champion off on his bumper, one-handed, and I'm literally looking at his dad in the stands, and I'm standing. We flagged, for the little guys, for the micros, it was the coaches and dads that flagged for him. So I'm standing out there looking. I got a tear in my eye. I know exactly what I'm going to say. Anyway, all of a sudden his kart starts running 2.5 laps in. He was right piled up on 2 and 3. Kart starts running. He drives away. He wins the thing. And then I go in the pits and I tell his dad, I was like, yeah, he was holding his finger on the start button for 2.5 laps. And I mean, it's like watching Rudy with your little brother. There's no higher reward for me. I don't. And I told the kids, this is a big thing about our team culture, Rob. I'll tell you. I told the kids 3 times, I don't care where we come in. I don't care if you win or lose. I don't care about your lap times. I care if you work hard. I care if you have fun. I care if you do it right. I care if you're focused. Like, let's do it right and let the outcomes take care of themselves. That whole group of kids, Josh, Kevin, Gabriel, James, just did it right. They just did it right. Aiden Crothers. And the results just came. And in James's case, it was one of the most emotional things that's happened to me in sport in many years. And I hope, I guess those guys are tuned in because they're commenting. But I have nothing to be proud of. It was his dad and it was him, and they just have a character as a family. But James drove more like he drove like a 2-time Formula One champ in that thing. And he's formed as a kid now. He will be a fierce competitor. That is going to be a youngster to watch from now on. And he wrenches that go-kart around the racetrack. He is so confident now. He doesn't leave all of our kids. I'm very proud to say they drive nice, beautiful arcs, but they don't leave much on the table. Our karts are working hard from the end of the braking zone off the apex, and every one of our kids, James especially, is committed to finding those tenths, hundredths and tenths every weekend. That's all we want to do is get better and better and better. And he's on a path. I'm very proud of him, and glad to have him with us. That's for sure.
Any company, any brand, they always have to have that culture. And I think that last couple of minutes there, we kind of figure out what the culture is for Racelab and KARTPLEX and Craig Feiner and the whole crew. Craig, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it. We'll obviously keep up to date with everything you're doing. Watch for more content on EKN about what they're doing with TV Kart, what they're doing with Villeneuve Chassis, at KARTPLEX, all the stuff they're doing. Craig, we appreciate the tour around KARTPLEX. You're our first mobile guest. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Thank you, and I hope I can invite you guys out here. I last time I looked, you're both still Canadians, and you should.
No, I'm not. David's American.
David's American. That's right.
So.
David's American. I've usurped him into Canada. I've usurped David.
He's got a passport.
I got a passport now. We're good.
Well, so then you guys need to get your butts out here.
We got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. Craig, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks. I love what you guys do. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you helping us tell our story. Rob, I've loved what you do. You're the man in this game. And David, I'm greatly appreciative for you getting Rob organized and keeping his stuff together and making it so that the rest of us can actually, get around Rob without tripping on him and stuff like that.
There you go.
You guys are a great partnership, and we just appreciate the support and being part of your program.
Thanks, Craig, man. I appreciate it. So there you go, folks. Racelab, KARTPLEX. David, what a great story, number one, the way that track came about. And then you look at the passion from Craig being around for a couple of decades, meets through the rental kart program, meets the people from TV Kart, and this is what ends up happening. What a great story. And I think it's one we're going to be following for the next couple of years, many years, actually.
Well, like you said, that last part, it's just refreshing. Again, it doesn't matter what your results do, or it's how you approach adversity, how you approach a race weekend, how you approach just life in general. And I think that's a great way. He's obviously done a lot of coaching, mental coaching and team building. And so it really shows through that mentality of again, let's build something here. And again, at the base level, it all eventually will get to the top. But you have to have that base. They're going to be at the Supernats, but it all starts with this rental kart program, people coming in, and it's just it's what we want in the sport. We talk about lowering the barrier of entry. How do we get new people into the sport? This has always been the way to do it, right? Through that rental program. But just the rental program by itself doesn't do it. You have to have that link that quickly makes it easy for them to come into competition karting. Yeah, and then you dangle a couple, like you said, the scholarship programs again.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. We want to see people who are struggling get help and then be able to achieve something like Kevin Foster has done in the last just 3 months. So, just again, a lot more information than I knew of in this interview, and just again, after the weekend I had, it's refreshing. It's really refreshing to hear that.
And again, top level national racing. We know these days, folks, it's been a weird year in terms of the stressfulness of it. Some actions from some of the people out there in our sport that have not shown the respect for the sport itself, or really even just the purity of the passion, right? Supporting your passion, having respect for your passion. That's what we saw. Great opportunity to tell the story of Craig Feiner, a new program, obviously coming internationally or nationally, I guess you would say, North American, continentally, as they are now, as we said, the TB kart importer and distributor. They have their Villeneuve line as well, which is kind of their premier line that they use a lot up in Canada. But I think you're going to hear a lot more about Racelab, all three of those brands, and of course, what's going on. We're definitely going to have to get out to KARTPLEX. I'm being a good boy now because Super Nats is coming. But David, the Okanagan Valley, fantastic wine. I know you're not a wine drinker, but if I can go out and race go-karts and have a nice dinner with some vino, I'd be a happy man.
It sounds like a great location, certainly for you. But I want to take in. My wife wants to go to British Columbia to begin with to check out all the scenery. So as he said, my wife might be able to. She can go to the winery. I can go to the racetrack at KARTPLEX.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Face to Face. That was a fantastic interview. Of course, as always, we'll turn it into a podcast. We'll put it on the EKN Radio Network. It'll be available on all the podcast platforms. We'll have it here on YouTube for archiving as well. But again, big thank you to Craig Feiner for joining us here. What a great story from everybody out at KARTPLEX and at Racelab. Again, such a fantastic culture that they're developing there. Great products, as we know. TB kart getting a lot of success over in Europe right now, and in Italy and around Europe. So all in all, just a lot of building blocks. So it could be not only a great thing for that company, but also for the sport, all told. And again, on behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.